Let's talk about Adelaide United. As I mentioned this at the top, potential new dark horses, if we want to use that title. I don't really like the term dark horse, and the A-League is so up and down that is anyone a dark horse? But I guess Adelaide United are a team who sort of people wrote off after the first few rounds. They were struggling to find 3 points. They were struggling to score many goals and really, just winning games simply. But at the moment, they've been turning it around. And let's look at their last 4 results. Going back to and this is just in the A-League, so disregarding that cup knockout in the quarterfinals to victory. 4-0 at home to Wellington. That was a convincing result. 1-1 away to Melbourne victory, which was an incredibly entertaining game with that dramatic finish. That gritty 2-2 draw with Melbourne City, where Ibusuki scored off the bench to equalise, and then the 3-1 win away to Brisbane, which really consolidated it for me. They'd been building some decent form and not losing games. And the win away to Brisbane, a Brisbane Roar side who were coming off a little bit of confidence after drawing away to Sydney FC the previous week, and on the previous Wednesday night last week, winning at home to Perth Glory. So, and at home again, they probably would have been optimistic about getting a result against an Adelaide United side who are sort of was at a similar level as them. I'm on the ladder. Adelaide a little bit higher, obviously, but yeah. So positive results, and I tell you what, the win on Sunday against Brisbane is so important, and it's so important because it makes those draws against Victory and City, who are 2 of the best teams in the country, look so much better, right? To look at the last 4 games across the A-League, big wins against Brisbane and Wellington, 2 of sort of the lower side teams, which they should be beating those sides. No disrespect to those clubs, and then against Victory and City, who are like favourites for the top 4, to be getting draws against those teams, especially away to Victory. To get a draw there was massive. So when you look at those results, it's like, okay, this Adelaide team, it means business. Like those 4 results are all very impressive. That it has to be mentioned as well, though. They have played the most games out of anyone. They've played 9 matches, which there's some teams who are still 3 or 4 games behind them. So that has to be said. But those results do now take them into 5th place on the ladder, which is ahead of Mariners now, who currently sit in 6th, which seems incredible based off the form of the season. You'd assume that Central Coast Mariners would be higher than Adelaide at the moment, but again, it's the games in hand thing that obviously put it out of skew. You know what I mean? So look, Adelaide United, I'm impressed with them with what they're building, and I think they're finding the right setup now. I mean, Ben Halloran's gone. It looks like Stephen Mork's going to be on the way out as well. I think when they get the likes of Lachlan Brooks settled back in, I've been impressed with Bernardo Oliveira, the young guy, the young winger. Craig Goodwin's developing some good form and had a fantastic game against Brisbane, scoring 2 goals. And obviously, his form has been rewarded with a Socceroos call-up. They're building something good there. And I think as well, like midfielders like One Day and Isaias, like 2 very experienced quality midfielders who both have, Isaias won the championship with Adelaide back in 2016. One Day was key to Perth Glory's midfield when they made it all the way to the grand final under Tony Popovich a few years back as well. So class midfielders, I guess a little bit of still frailty in defence. I mean, they've got to make sure they keep someone like Mikael Jakobsen fit because he can be one of the best central defenders in the league if he stays fit. So maybe in defence, and they've had goalkeeping injuries as well. Joe Gautri's been out. He's back in now, but James Delinov, their first choice, is out at the moment as well. So defensively, that's probably where the concerns are. And look, if Ibusuki gets firing, yeah, they can make it work. And they've got, back up there with Mo Toure involved and George Blackwood, Blackwood's already grabbed a couple goals, which will boost his confidence as well. So, yeah, man, I think it's going to work out for Adelaide United this season. I think if you're a Reds fan, you should be optimistic. I'm not convinced that they will make finals. I'm not going to say they will make finals. I don't think they're one of those teams that are really... in terms of their consistency, I mean, those last few results, their consistency has been improving. Those, not losing. But yeah, I think they'll be one of those teams to be competing for 5th and 6th. I think they'll be around there. They could finish anywhere between 5th and 8th for me. I think they'll be sort of a mid-table side, looking just to sneak into the finals.